Everybody, Joshua Pondexter from Stone Consultant LLC. We've got a very interesting topic this afternoon, called developing your own investment plan. And we all should, because traditionally we're following someone else's investment plan, whether it be our father, our mother, the community, the co-worker at work. But you should develop your own investment plan, whether that be your career, whether that be anything that you invest in your time, energy, and money in. It should be something that you're intimately aware of and have an idea why you're doing it, what you're trying to accomplish, things of those natures, instead of just following the crowd, right? So we want you to develop your own investment plan. We're going to give you some ideas around that. And so without further ado, we're going to get this started. Let me open up my PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Yeah, so I am the audio visual guy, so I have to do all this myself. So this was talking about developing your own investment plan. You can take a screenshot. That's my office number, 708-298-5652. That's my website, joshuapondexter.com. Want to do some research on me, find out who I am, how long I've been doing what I've been doing. Because if I talk about myself and my 30-year experience in the financial sector, I'd have taken an hour myself. Anybody got that type of time, right? So feel free to go to my website, get some background information, right? So let's talk about money, how money works, right? A lot of people are familiar with the rule of 72. And so once we share this rule with you, we can, how can this help you become wealthy, right? I think I sent out some communication saying that how to utilize the rule of 72 and not have the rule of 72 work against you, right? So if you end up 65, 70 years old, broke, the rule of 72 has been working against you. All right, so this is the formula. Divide the rule number 72 by the annual interest rate to find out approximately the time required for your money to double, right? For the doubling periods, right? 72 divided by interest rate equals years to double. For an example, if you getting 3% annual interest rate, it takes 24 years for your money to double, right? So, if at 24 years, all you have done was set aside $100,000, right? You only got $200,000 after 24 years. Whereas opposed that 100,000 was getting 10%, you will have close to $1 million, right? So the rule of 72, very powerful tool to understand. When you give someone your hard-earned dollars, you want to know that my money is working for me and not for the other people. So here are some interest rates to compare. As you can see, modest increases in rate have a dramatic effect on the doubling time. Of $10,000 over a 48-year period. So somebody would have told us this 48 years ago when we put $10,000 away. We went down to the bank and gave them that 10 grand. And 48 years later, we got 20 grand, right? So let's jump over to 6%. At 6%, we got 160,000. Same $10,000, hadn't put any more money in it, right? 12%, right? 12%, the same $10,000. You are a cash flow millionaire, right? So you say, well, where can you get 10, 12%? That's the American economy. The American economy in the last 100 years have averaged 10% return. That's in highs, lows, So if you're investing in the American economy, the growth of the American economy, and you getting 1.5, 2%, somebody's got their hands in the pot. Somebody's stealing your money. They're stealing your wealth, right? So the rule of 72, very powerful rule. Is not the only financial rule that's out there, but this one here, Albert Einstein said it's the most powerful force in the universe, right? He misspoke because it said that that Einstein did believe in God. You know, God is the most powerful force in the universe, but in the financial universe, this is the most powerful force. The rule of 72. So, any questions on the rule of 72? Any thoughts? I want to know, how can I apply that? Somebody, you lock that rule in? I think we got people saying, okay. Okay, so now we can hear. Right, so rule of 72, this should be your guide when you go make some money and you put that money to work for you. You want to know what's my rate of return, right? That I'm going to receive on my money, right? So no questions. Let's keep diving. And so when we're talking about the rule of 72, now we're going to talk about some potential places that you can invest your money. And this is why knowledge is needed. The stock market, the aggregation of buyers and sellers, ownership claims on businesses. So publicly traded company, if you buy stock, you have an ownership claim in these businesses. The market capitalization, $53 million, right? A lot of money in the American market, right? So now it's like, okay, I want to get into buying stock. I want to get into owning some of America, some of these great companies, right? So they offer stock, common stock, preferred stock, right? So the common stock is what most people buy. A shares, B shares, C shares, right? Then there's preferred stock. It's stated that 90% of all publicly traded companies, their preferred stock is held by 12 families. So that means that if you work in corporate America, one of these publicly traded companies, you own the plantation. You still working for one of these 12 families. Is that not crazy in America? That small group, 12 families, got that much control, right? Not the president, right? Not the generals. This small group of families, wealthy families, control this much influence. So, and then of course, in stocks, you got large cap stocks, and these large cap, mid cap, small cap is by capitalization. Is it a multi-billion-dollar business, right? If it's a billion or less, small cap, 10 billion, mid cap, right? And so this is how you look at stocks. Then there's domestic companies. There's international companies. This is an international world, right? So why don't you have international stocks in your portfolio, right? So everybody's talking about the Russia conflict and how it's affecting the stock market in the world, right? Hey, it's international. So you should be in there. So there's growth stocks, value stocks. And we're going to stop here on IPOs, right? Initial public offering. So I know we wish we would have got on PayPal, Google, Facebook, when they offered, you'll be wealthy now, right? And then dividends and non-dividend stocks. So here's where we like to rest right here, is that, say for instance, if I have $100,000, I want to buy some dividend stocks where I am annually getting a 4 to 6% dividend. So now if I got $1 million, hey, I'm taking $40,000, $60,000 cash every month for me, right? Income stock. I'm going to use my money and I want to produce the income that I cannot outlive. Cyclical and non-cyclical stock. So what's cyclical stock? That stock that goes in a cycle, right? Well, that's why Walt Disney put his company in Florida, so it won't be cyclical. Up in the Midwest, what's that company? Six Flags over America, they cyclical. They are not open the whole year. In the wintertime, they can't open. So they're losing their money. It's not making money all the time, right? ESGs, those of you who are concerned about the environment and social investing, this is the type of stock area you might want to concentrate on. That's blue chip, Coca-Cola, GE, these are blue. And then there's penny stocks, stocks that are dollar or less, right? So this is your opportunity to participate in the stock. So when I'm talking about developing your own investment strategy and you want to put your money in stocks and you don't know nothing about stocks, and then you go take your money to a guy to say, okay, we're going to buy you this, buy you that, that's very risky. So the more knowledge that you have of a thing, the more it reduces your risk, right? So if you're going to get into the stock market, yes, it's complex, but it has some simplicity, right? When you develop your own strategy of what's your ideal. I want to be a social investor. I want dividends for my money. So once you develop your plan, it simplifies things and you create some knowledge around that, then that mitigates your risk, right? If you don't know nothing about stocks and you want to put your money in stocks, extremely risky. All right. So despite the pandemic, the total market value listed American companies increased 20.15% during the year 2020, right? So if you had $100,000 in the market, you should have increased your value to 120,000. If you had 200,000, that would have been 40 grand. If you had $1 million cash in the market, you should have got $200,000, right? But what's happening, rule of 72, is there's a little intermediary there that's ripping you off, right? Because you only got 3% return. That's crazy, right? So we definitely want to make sure that you understand what you're doing. Between 1/1/2010 and 12/31/2020, the market cap of public U.S. corporation increased 170%, right? So could you imagine? Is this not some place that you want to be? Anybody? Do anybody think that they should be in the stock market? Yes, no, count me out. This if you want your money to grow.
Yes.
Yeah, you should be in the stock market, but you don't want to be in there as a dummy. You want to know what you're doing because Wall Street exists for no other reason but to make money off of the uneducated. Brother Williams.
No questions.
No question? Oh, excellent, right? So this is what I'm saying. These companies, Merrill Lynch, Charles Schwab, Edward Jones, they exist for no other reason but to make fees off of the unsuspecting. Those don't know what they're doing, right? They make billions of dollars in fees. They create nothing. They don't make cars. They don't grow bananas, right? It's nothing but fees. And who they're making fees off of? The American consumer, right? So anyway, let me get off of my soapbox and let's continue. All right. You want to be in the market, but you want to be there and be in the market intelligently. All right. So there's another market, the bond market, and most people don't like this. Is the debt security. $46 trillion. This is domestic debt. 119 trillion worldwide. right? Treasury, saving, municipality, corporate. There's a whole list I could have listed of potential debt securities that you can buy, right? $46 trillion. Wow, this is how this economy is kept afloat. The American economy and the world economy is kept afloat with debt. Debt should be a part of your portfolio. And then the whole beautiful thing about debt is you can invest in certain type of debt and that it will be tax-free. Your municipality and your state bonds and some government bonds, when you invest in these and the money that comes back to you, they come back tax-free, right? Don't you see, let's see, Ruthie, where you from? Come on, we ain't got all day.
Las Vegas.
Yeah, you see how Las Vegas be growing? They grow with debt, right? When they put them hotels up, that's a bunch of debt, right? And when the municipality is expanding and your local is expanding, they have a bond offering, right? So yes, you should. And when you invest in a certain type of bonds, and say you put $100,000, you got 6% back. That means that 6% can come back to you tax-free. Man, come on now. Do you think that bond debt should be a part of your portfolio? I think so.
Yes.
I think so. All right. Now, so Treasury, saving bonds. Well, remember we all used to buy them, right? Municipal, corporate bonds. These are debt against the company. I would love to have some debt against Amazon, right? They pay their bills now. They got so much money, they're gonna pay their bills, but they utilize debt to grow their companies, right? So what about active? So we went from the security, from stocks to bonds. Those strictly stocks, you get a stock certificate. You have ownership. You get a bond, you get a bond certificate. Mutual funds, you get a statement. You get no ownership, right? Those other things, you have ownership. What about active managed mutual funds? What should a small investor do? There's $5 trillion in active mutual funds. 7,636 mutual funds in the United States. 95% underperform their benchmark. What? They're not even performing. Annual rates of return for the last 30 years in actively managed mutual funds is 3.66%. The market is giving, in the last 30 years, is giving 10+% return. You put your money in a mutual fund, they ripping you off to the tune of 6% of the gain. Well, you know, I think they should make money, but they shouldn't make 3/4, and I only make 1/3, right? I can see 1%, right? And not only that, 50% of active managed mutual fund managers, that's a mouthful, 50% of active managed mutual fund managers don't have a penny of their money in their mutual funds. Well, they don't even believe in their product. So what should a small investor do? You can't, you know, pay $1,000 for a share a piece. Can't get many of that, right? What should we do? What about indexing? The S&P 500 index funds in the last 100 years, they have about 80+ years of history, but when you backdate them to 100 years, they average 10.72% return every year. The Russell 3000, these are indexes, 13.1% since 1979. The Dow Jones 20-year returns, 7.3%. The NASDAQ 100 5-year return, 252%. Indexing. And indexing, the cost of indexing is 1% or less when it comes to fee structure. So that means that if you put your money in indexing, you're going to get 99% of the market, right? Is that clear? Is that crystal clear? That if you don't know about stocks, if you're not a sophisticated investor where you can choose your own stocks, if you don't know about how to buy bonds and you're learning and you want to get your share of the American market, the greatest economy ever to live, so they say, right? Don't you want to get your share? Indexing is the simple way, right? There's a guy, they call him the Oracle from Oklahoma, right? We're talking about Warren Buffett, right? I'm the Oracle from Arkansas. I'm telling you the index. He said, put your money in index. I say, put your money in index, right? And you will see a different reality after 30, 40 years than when you retire, right? Of having your money in the market. All right, last but not least, real property, right? The average year-over-year return, 11.1%, right? Great, right? And so real estate have something that most other investment doesn't have. They call bonus depreciation, where now you can take the depreciation from your real estate and offset other passive income, right? So the average 5-year rate of return for real estate is 8.1%, right? Year to date, real estate net returns as of October 2021 is 29%. We in a bull market. This is hot. It ain't the time to buy. Maybe, I don't know if you can find some foreclosed properties, if you can get you some properties from probate. I was just talking to a client this morning who's grabbing 2 out of probate, right? Low-rise apartment buildings are among the most lucrative, with 9.9% return on your investment, right? So we live in Chicago, so multi-units, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, right? Great rate of return on your investment. So it's stocks, bonds, mutual funds, indexing, please. Don't buy actively managed mutual funds. If you are, 95% of those individuals underperform the benchmark. The benchmark is the S&P 500, that's yielding 10%. Go with the benchmark, right? And indexing, right? And last but not least, we're going to talk about the real property, right? So this is developing your own investment program, your own investment plan. If you need help, you can contact us at joshuapondexter.com, and we would give you a complimentary consultation how to get your plan together. And what we ask that you do, we ask that you like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families.